Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something truly special, wheat pennies. These little copper coins might seem simple at first glance, but some of them are worth a fortune. In today's video, we're going to explore the top 7 most valuable wheat pennies, their fascinating history, and what makes certain ones so rare and valuable. Before we dive into the big bucks, let's quickly talk about the wheat penny's history. First issued in 1909, it replaced the Indian head cent. The design featured 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, which is where the wheat penny name comes from. The obverse displayed Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, making the coin a lasting symbol of American history. Minted from 1909 to 1958, holding one of these is like holding a piece of the past. What really drives their value, though, are errors, rare minting variations, and specific years that make them worth far more than a penny. Let's start with the 1947 no-mint mark wheat penny, one of the rarest and most valuable in the collection, with a value that can reach up to $17,500. But why is this penny so special? Well, it was struck in Philadelphia, which is why it doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, unlike those from Denver and San Francisco, which bear a D or S mint mark. However, the 1947 no-mint mark wheat penny stands out due to its exceptional quality, scarcity, and demand from collectors. While the 1947 wheat penny is not the rarest overall, certain pieces struck that year have become highly sought after due to their near-perfect condition. Coins from this era often show signs of wear and tear after being in circulation for so many years, but some 1947 wheat pennies have survived in remarkably good shape. These well-preserved coins, in mint condition, can command premium prices. When in pristine condition, a 1947 no-mint mark wheat penny can be worth as much as $17,500. The reason for this value is a combination of scarcity and the coin's excellent state of preservation. Coins that are uncirculated, with minimal signs of wear, are especially valuable. If you come across one of these, you'll want to inspect it closely. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher, which are considered in near-perfect condition, will fetch top dollar. Pay attention to any marks, discoloration, or wear. Even small imperfections can greatly reduce the coin's value. The key features to focus on are the sharpness of the wheat stalks on the reverse, the clarity of the date, and the general details on both sides of the coin. Another aspect that contributes to the value of this coin is the scarcity factor. During the 1940s, many pennies were minted and circulated extensively, and as a result, many coins were lost, damaged, or heavily worn down over the years. This means that finding a 1947 no-mint mark wheat penny in top condition is a rare occurrence. Fewer examples in good condition have survived the test of time, making it an exciting find for collectors. If you happen to discover one in your collection or even in a roll of change, don't just discard it. Take the time to examine it carefully. If it looks uncirculated, it could be worth much more than you expect. Ultimately, the rarity and exceptional preservation of the 1947 no-mint mark wheat penny are what make it so highly prized among collectors. A well-preserved coin with no mint mark from Philadelphia during this era is a unique treasure, and finding one in mint condition could put you in possession of a rare piece of history with a substantial value. Next up, we have the 1956 D wheat penny, valued at around $18,000. Now, this is pretty remarkable considering that 1956 is a relatively common year for wheat pennies. You might think, why is this coin worth so much? The answer lies in a few rare minting errors and the general condition of the coin. One of the main reasons the 1956 D holds such a high value is due to certain distinctive minting errors, most notably the double die error. For those unfamiliar with what that means, a double die occurs when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin is misaligned or has an issue during the minting process. This causes the images on the coin, particularly the date and some of the lettering, to appear doubled, creating a unique, error-filled version of the coin that collectors will pay top dollar for. Double die errors can be tricky to spot unless you know what to look for. On the 1956 D Wheat Penny, you'll typically see the doubling in the date and on the letters of Liberty on the obverse side, as well as the motto, In God We Trust. If you ever come across a 1956 D with this error, you're in luck because it could significantly boost the coin's value. In addition to the error itself, the overall condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Like with any collectible coin, condition is key. For the 1956 D, coins that have a sharp, clean strike, with crisp details and minimal wear, are highly sought after. A penny that's well preserved, with little to no tarnishing or damage, will always be more valuable than one that's been in circulation for decades and shows the typical signs of age. So, even if you don't find one with a double die error, a 1956 D in pristine condition can still command a pretty penny. But the true value of this coin really comes from the rarity of these specific 1956 D pennies. Even though 1956 was a year when a large number of pennies were produced, very few were struck with the kind of error that makes them so desirable, and even fewer have managed to stay in great condition over the years. That's why collectors are willing to pay such a high price for this coin, especially those with the double die error. So, if you ever find a 1956 D Wheat Penny with sharp details and a strong strike, or if you come across one with the double die error, don't just put it in your pocket change jar. Take the time to carefully examine it. If it's in great condition or has that double die, you could be holding a valuable piece of coinage history worth thousands of dollars. Let's talk about another rare find, the 1946 No Mint Mark Wheat Penny, which can be valued at up to $14,950. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this particular penny so intriguing? Well, it's similar to the 1947 version we discussed earlier, but it has its own unique appeal. The 1946 Wheat Penny was struck in Philadelphia, just like the 1947, which means it doesn't have a mint mark. For those who are new to coin collecting, this is important because pennies minted in Philadelphia typically don't carry any mint mark, unlike those from Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. So, why is this specific 1946 no mint mark penny worth so much? The answer lies in the combination of its year, minting location, and the condition in which it survives. While 1946 pennies are not as rare in terms of production, they are extremely sought after in high grades. The 1946 penny had a fairly high mintage compared to other years, but what sets this one apart is that fewer of them have been preserved in excellent condition over the decades. In fact, the 1946 is one of those coins that's surprisingly hard to find in mint condition, especially without any noticeable wear or damage. This scarcity makes those that are in great shape particularly valuable. As with many coins, the condition is crucial. If you come across a 1946 no mint mark wheat penny, check the coin for any imperfections or signs of wear. A penny that's well preserved, free from damage, and with all its sharp details intact, will command much higher prices than one that's been circulated and shows heavy signs of aging. For example, the wheat stalks on the reverse side should still be crisp, and the date should be clear without any significant fading. A coin in mint condition can be worth up to $14,950, depending on its quality and grade. Another factor that can affect the value of the 1946 no mint mark penny is the presence of errors. While not as common as other years, some 1946 pennies did feature unique minting errors, such as misalignments or double dies. These kinds of errors, even in small numbers, are highly collectible and can significantly increase the value of the coin. For example, if you spot a 1946 no mint mark with a noticeable double die or another error, it could make the coin even more valuable to collectors who are specifically seeking out those rare mistakes. In summary, the 1946 no mint mark wheat penny is a highly valuable coin due to its scarcity in high-grade conditions, its lack of a mint mark, and the potential for errors. If you have one of these in your collection or you find one while searching through rolls of pennies, it's definitely worth taking the time to closely examine it. A pristine 1946 penny could be worth thousands, and if it's got an error or unusual feature, it could go for much more. Next, let's talk about the 1953 D Wheat Penny. In January 2025, this coin's value has been soaring, reaching around $19,500 in top condition. Now, you might be thinking, isn't this a 1950s coin? Doesn't that seem a bit late in the Wheat Penny series? It's a fair question, but here's why the 1953 D is so highly sought after, despite being minted toward the end of the series. While many pennies from the 1950s were produced in large quantities, the 1953 D stands out to collectors for several reasons. First off, it was struck at the Denver Mint, which is marked by the D mint mark on the reverse. Although millions of 1953 D wheat pennies were produced, it's the ones in exceptional condition that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Over the years, many of these coins were circulated and inevitably saw wear and tear. But the key to unlocking a 1953 D wheat penny's value lies in its preservation. When a coin is well preserved, it can command a much higher price than one that's been heavily worn. The 1953 D is particularly valuable when it's in near mint condition, meaning it has sharp, clear details with no major signs of wear or damage. For example, the wheat stalks on the reverse side should remain crisp, the date should be clear and legible, and there should be no visible discoloration or scratches. If you find a 1953 D that's well preserved with those sharp details, you could be holding on to something truly valuable. Another factor contributing to its value is the rarity of high-quality examples. As with many coins, the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. For a 1953 D wheat penny to be worth $19,500, it must meet a high standard in terms of its condition. Coins that are graded as MS 65 or higher, mint state 65, are typically the ones that fetch these sky-high prices. A coin in this grade will have excellent detail and minimal to no wear, often appearing like it just came off the minting press. But even without reaching the pinnacle of $19,500, the 1953 D can still hold significant value depending on its condition. Coins in lower grades can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if they are well preserved for their age. That's why collectors are always on the lookout for these coins. While they may not be as rare as some earlier years, the 1953 D is still relatively uncommon in excellent condition. So, if you come across a 1953 D wheat penny, take the time to check it over carefully. Look for those sharp details and assess the condition. A well-preserved example could be worth far more than you expect, making it a great addition to any collection or even a potential investment if you decide to sell it. Moving on, we have the 1950 D wheat penny, which is another fascinating coin in the series. This one's valued at about $10,800 from 2021, and it's easy to see why it's so sought after by collectors. The reason for its high value lies in a few key factors, including the limited number of these coins that were struck, as well as an increasing demand from collectors who are eager to find high-quality examples. The 1950 D wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes from. While the 1950s saw many pennies produced in large quantities, the 1950 D stands out due to the scarcity of high-grade examples. The minting process during that time wasn't as precise as it is today, which means that many of these pennies were poorly struck, leading to weak details, especially on the reverse side, where the wheat stalks are located. Over time, most of these coins saw significant wear from circulation, making well-preserved 1950 D pennies relatively rare. So, what makes the 1950 D so interesting to collectors? It's all about the condition. A 1950 D in excellent shape, one with a strong strike and minimal wear, has become highly coveted. When these coins are well preserved, they display clear, sharp details, and the design is bold and crisp, something that wasn't very common for pennies from that era. The key features to look out for are the wheat stalks on the reverse, as they should be well defined, with no signs of wear or fading. A 1950 D with these characteristics is incredibly valuable, especially considering how many were struck and eventually worn down over the years. The 1950 D wheat penny's value has steadily increased over time, and its price tag of around $10,800 in 2021 reflects the growing demand for high-quality examples. Collectors know that finding these coins in mint condition is not easy. Many of these pennies were simply too worn down to be of interest, but the few that have survived in pristine condition are highly prized. The increase in collector demand over the past few decades has certainly contributed to the rise in value, as more and more people discover just how special this particular coin is. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1950 wheat penny, make sure to take a close look at its condition. The better the strike and the less where it shows, the higher its potential value. And while the price of $10,800 might seem like a lot for a penny, it's a reflection of how rare these coins are in top condition. Even if your 1950 doesn't quite reach that value, it could still be worth a significant amount, depending on its preservation. So, always take the time to check your pennies carefully, you might just have a hidden gem in your hands. Now, let's talk about the 1958 wheat penny. This penny isn't necessarily rare, but it has been known to fetch up to $9,000 under the right conditions, and that's what makes it so intriguing. So, what's behind the high value of this coin, especially since it's from the final year of the Wheat Penny series? The main reason the 1958 wheat penny can be so valuable is the condition in which it survives. While many 1958 pennies were struck and circulated in large numbers, those that have been preserved in excellent condition stand out. Like with any collectible coin, the better the preservation, the higher the price. A 1958 in near-mint condition is highly sought after by collectors, especially those with fewer imperfections, wear, or damage from circulation. What makes a 1958 truly valuable? It all comes down to the details. When these coins are well preserved, they showcase sharp and clear features, with the design elements on both the obverse and reverse looking crisp and unblemished. For example, the wheat stalks on the reverse should have clear lines, the date should be sharp, and there should be no noticeable signs of wear on Lincoln's profile. Coins in such pristine condition are rare, especially for a year that saw such a high mintage. Additionally, coins from the late 1950s were often heavily circulated due to their age, which means finding one that hasn't been damaged by wear or handling is a special occurrence. The more well-preserved a coin is, the more appealing it becomes to collectors looking for near-perfect specimens to add to their collections. The value of a 1958 can skyrocket when it shows minimal wear and no discoloration, making it a premium find for anyone looking to invest in a rare coin. Another factor that contributes to the high price of the 1958 wheat penny is its significance in the broader context of U.S. coinage history. The 1958 represents the last year of the wheat penny design, and it holds a special place in the hearts of many collectors. The design change to the Lincoln Memorial Cent in 1959 marked the end of an era, and coins from this transitional period are often highly regarded by those who appreciate the historical significance of these coins. In short, while the 1958 wheat penny might not be the rarest coin, those in excellent condition with minimal signs of wear are definitely worth seeking out. If you find one in great shape, you could be looking at a coin that could fetch up to $9,000. So, if you have a 1958 or come across one, take the time to examine it closely. Its condition could make it a valuable addition to your collection or a potential windfall if you decide to sell. And finally, we have the 1952 wheat penny, which can be worth around $9,775. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this coin so valuable? Well, just like the other coins we've discussed, it really all comes down to condition. The 1952 wheat penny was minted in large numbers, so it's not particularly rare in terms of how many were made. However, what makes it stand out is how few have survived in excellent, well-preserved condition. Over the years, many 1952 pennies were heavily circulated, meaning they were worn down by time and use. Finding one that's still in great shape, without signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, is a rare occurrence. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition for decades are much harder to find than those that have been through the everyday grind. As a result, a 1952 wheat penny that's been well preserved can fetch a premium price, reaching up to $9,775, especially if it has been graded highly. The key features that collectors look for when evaluating the 1952 D wheat penny are the sharpness of the design details, especially on the reverse side, where the wheat stalks are. The sharper and more distinct the wheat stalks, the more valuable the coin will be. The date should be clearly visible, without any signs of fading or smudging. The overall condition of the coin, how much wear and tear it shows, plays a huge role in determining its value. A coin with minimal wear on Lincoln's profile and a clean, crisp design is much more appealing to collectors, who are looking for coins that can add historical value to their collections. A 1952 D in mint condition, showing no discoloration, damage, or wear, is highly coveted. In fact, the better the coin's preservation, the more collectors are willing to pay. These coins, often graded as MS 65 or higher, are considered in near-perfect condition and are extremely rare to find, making them a treasure for those lucky enough to come across them. While most 1952 D pennies may only be worth a few cents, those in great shape can easily fetch thousands of dollars. In addition to being a highly collectible coin, the 1952 D wheat penny has historical significance, as it marks the final years of the classic wheat penny design. Coins from this time period hold a nostalgic value for collectors who appreciate the rich history of U.S. currency, and the 1952 D stands as one of the last of its kind before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial design. So, why are these pennies so valuable? The main factor is scarcity, whether due to minting errors or because fewer of these coins were produced in certain conditions. Minting errors like double dies or misalignments make them even more desirable. So, if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare wheat pennies in your pocket change or while searching through your collection, you might just have a small fortune in your hands. To wrap up, while most wheat pennies are worth just a few cents, some can be worth thousands of dollars because of their rarity, condition, and historical significance. If you've got any of the coins on this list, or even some that we haven't mentioned, keep them safe and consider having them appraised. Who knows? You might have a hidden treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more coin content. Catch you next time.